The very first WEC race in Brazil since 2014 is now complete, and it most certainly was a fantastic event. Both categories of Hypercar and LMGT3 produced some high quality racing, and there was even some drama that came with the event. So in this race review, I will break down the main details of what happened during the 2024 Rolex 6 Hours of São Paulo. Now before the event began, there is a fact that is important to mention. During practice, the number 78 Akotis ASP Lexus sustained a major crash. Thankfully the driver is okay, but this resulted in the team having to pull the Lexus out of the rest of the event. This meant that for the race, there would only be one Lexus RCF GT3 in the event, meaning that only 17 entries would participate in LMGT3 in Brazil. The race began with a clean start in both classes, and at the front, despite Brendan Hartley locking up in the number 8 Hypercar, Toyota continued to hold on to their qualifying positions and lead a 1-2 in the flagship category, with the number 5 Porsche continuing to hold on to the podium. I also wanted to mention that Isotta Fraschini had a great start to this race. Despite qualifying in P19, the Tipo 6 LMH Competizione made up 4 places at the start with Jean-Carl Vernet behind the wheel. Isotta Fraschini have been making great progress as the season has progressed, considering that the brand has never done prototype endurance racing before 2024. Their progress was proven by the result at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, where the car finished the event with no reliability issues, and with the Italian hypercar placed with the best balance of performance here in Brazil, and the car looking competitive at the start with those medium tires, Isotta Fraschini are definitely continuing to make good progress. So overall, with the first 5 laps completed, it remained the 2 Toyotas out in front, the 7 ahead of the 8. They were followed closely by Frederick Makovicky in the number 5 Porsche, with the number 2 Cadillac in 4th, and the Spa-winning number 12 Hertz Team Jota Porsche completing the top 5. Now, one of the main manufacturers that's usually battling for the win, that showed pace but seemingly did not have enough for the overall victory, was Ferrari. During the race, Ferrari were mainly battling in the mid-pack of the top 10. However, they never really had the ability to fight with Toyota, and the Porsche 963s were arguably performing better at Brazil. It's important to note that Ferrari had been massively affected by the balance of performance, in, unfortunately, a negative way. The Ferrari 499P was actually the hypercar with the least amount of power given, and alongside Toyota, Ferrari had the heaviest car, so I definitely think that this was contributing to their performance. Our first incident happened in LMGT3, when the number 91 Manthey EMA Porsche made contact with the number 81 TF Sport Corvette at Ticino del Lago. The number 91 Porsche would receive a hefty penalty, and it would turn out to not be the best of days for the Manthey EMA Porsche. However, on the other hand, the number 92 Manthey Pure Racing Porsche was having an excellent race, and as the event progressed, it chased down Sarah Bovy in the race-leading Iron Dames Lamborghini, and was looking to win another race in the WEC. Back up in Hypercar, the top 3 separated themselves from the rest of the pack, and a fierce battle soon broke out for 4th place, between more than 4 hypercars. However, drama soon happened when contact was made between the number 12 Hertz Team Jota Porsche and the number 6 Porsche Penske. The championship-leading number 6 Porsche came off worse from the collision, and limped back to the pits with a puncture, and eventually would rejoin in last place. Although, this is certainly not where the number 6 Porsche would finish in the event. The number 12 Hertz Team Jota Porsche would eventually receive a penalty for this collision, and it would drop it out of contention for a points finishing result. Now during this race, one of the drivers that really impressed me was Mick Schumacher. The son of 7-time F1 champion Michael Schumacher was performing really well in the number 36 Alpine. He pulled off great stints, overtakes, and showed competitive pace in general against the other hypercars in the top 10. And considering he has F1 experience here at Interlagos from his journey with the Haas team, he was definitely putting that to good use. After a disappointing result for Alpine at Le Mans, the hope was that Schumacher, as well as his teammates, could consistently show strong pace in the A424s to the checkered flag, therefore achieving a successful result for the French manufacturer here in Brazil. With around 4.5 hours to go, a lead change happened in LMGT3. Sarah Bovey, the number 85 Iron Dames Lamborghini, was defending against Alex Malikin in the number 92 Manthey Pure Racing Porsche, but eventually, the Porsche was able to go side by side and able to overtake the Lamborghini to take the lead of the GT class. The Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo showed strong pace, but to hold on to that lead with that fast-charging Porsche, which had been on incredible form in each WEC event so far, was just unfortunately not possible. Back up in Hypercar, there was drama for the race-leading number 7 Toyota. Toyota had been dominating this event with the number 7 car, and this in fact was the first event this year where Toyota Gazoo Racing had been dominating a WEC event. However, the number 7 Toyota would be hit with a drive-through penalty, which would bring the gap down to the sister Toyota and the number 5 Porsche Penske, which was closing in on the 2 Le Mans hypercars. Things unfortunately got worse for the number 7 car though, when the entry suffered a fuel pressure sensor issue, which not just dropped the GR010 from the lead, but outside the top 10, and unfortunately there would be no other opportunity for the number 7 Toyota to reclaim the lead of this race. Thankfully for Toyota Gazoo Racing, taking over the lead was the sister Toyota, the number 8 car, which had showed incredible pace and built a sizable gap to the rest of the field. Taking up the remaining podium positions at the time was the 2 Porsche Penskes, with the number 6 Porsche now recovering to the podium after their earlier misfortunes. Elsewhere in the hypercar class, an LMH that was showing good pace was the Peugeot 9X8 hypercar. It had not been a perfect start for the French manufacturer in 2024, after heartbreak in Qatar and their new car effectively being introduced in Imola. However, here in Brazil, this was obviously turning out to be Peugeot's best race this season. The number 93 car was placed in the top 10, and for a time, was even ahead of the Le Mans winning number 50 Ferrari. While this performance was encouraging, I don't think Peugeot have the ability to fight with Toyota, Ferrari, and Porsche for podiums or top 5s this year on a consistent basis. I still think it will take them some time to be able to do that with this new car. Although, this is a positive sign that things are moving in the right direction. As the race progressed, there were some unfortunate retirements. The first one I wanted to mention was for Isotta Fraschini. Despite showing some competitive pace at the start, the Tipo 6 LMH Competizione was unfortunately forced to retire because of an engine issue. However, despite this unfortunate retirement, Isotta Fraschini were having a pretty good race up until then, and hopefully they'll come back stronger at the next race in Austin, Texas. The day was also cut short for the Iron Dames, when the number 85 Lamborghini was devastatingly forced into the pits with coolant issues. This was absolutely heartbreaking because Iron Dames had been having so much bad luck this year in the WEC, and here at Interlagos they genuinely had the pace and were in a position to win. I'm hoping that the bad luck comes to an end in the following race as they bounce back stronger for Lone Star Le Mans, and hopefully they can achieve a similar result as they did in the European Le Mans series during the 4 Hours of Imola, where they won that race with their Porsche entry. Now, the factory Porsche 963s were definitely showing strong pace here, but so were the customer cars. The number 38 Hertz Team Jota Porsche in particular was performing well. Heading into the conclusion of this event, Jenson Button was behind the wheel of the mighty 38, and we know how well the British driver is around Interlagos. After all, he did win his F1 championship here in 2009 with Braun GP, and achieved his last F1 win here. Hertz Team Jota were looking set to make it a Porsche 234 in Brazil. However, Button was forced to take the car down pit road for a 5-second stop-and-go penalty due to a tire pressure infraction. Now, in the final minutes of this event, the top 3 in Hypercar were basically decided, But the battle for fourth was far from over, especially now that the number 38 Porsche was no longer in that position. The number 7 Toyota with Kamui Kobayashi behind the wheel was continuing to make its way back to the front, and with the number 51 Ferrari in sight, Kobayashi made a courageous switchback maneuver at turn 1 on the Ferrari, and bravely overtook and got the number 7 Toyota up into 4th place. This was arguably the best overtake during this race, and I applaud Kamui Kobayashi for pulling off this bold move on the Ferrari. So as the checkered flag fell, it was the number 8 Toyota that would cross the line in first to achieve Toyota's second win this season. It was a dominant race from Toyota Gazoo Racing, and Sebastian Buemi, Brendan Hartley, and Ryo Hirakawa had taken the number 8 Toyota to victory lane for the first time this season, and first time in the WEC since the 8 Hours of Bahrain. Sebastian Buemi also became the first driver in WEC history to win 25 victories. This win also meant that for the first time in the history of this championship, also including the 2007 race here in the Le Mans Series, we now had our first repeat winner overall, with Toyota also taking the win here 12 years ago in 2012. The podium was completed by the Penske number 6 Porsche and the number 5 Porsche, which delivered a strong result for Porsche Penske Motorsport in Brazil. Meanwhile, in LMGT3, victory was obtained by the number 92 Manthey Pure Racing Porsche, this being their second race win this season, their first coming all the way back in Qatar. The second place finisher was the number 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, and coming home in P3 for the first time was United Autosports and McLaren with the number 95 720S GT3. Heading out of this race, the championship standings in Hypercar continues to have the number 6 Porsche Penske at the top, with the number 50 Ferrari in second and the number 7 Toyota in third. The second factory Porsche 963, which is the number 5 Porsche, is in fourth, with the number 8 Toyota now moving up into 5th position after their win in Brazil. Following the number 8 Toyota was the number 12 Hertz Team Jota Porsche, with the 51 Ferrari placed in 7th. Meanwhile, the customer number 83 AF Corsa Ferrari is placed in 8th. The Proton Competition Porsche is quickly followed by the Ferrari, with the number 2 Cadillac from Chip Ganassi Racing completing the top 10. The LMGT3 standings, meanwhile, continue to display the number 92 Manthey Pure Racing Porsche in first, with the sister Porsche in second. The number 31 Team WRT BMW sits third, followed by the number 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin and the number 55 Vista AF Corsa Ferrari completing the top 5. The second WRT BMW, that being the number 46 car and the car that Valentino Rossi drives, is placed in 6th, followed by the 777 D-Station Aston Martin and the 85 Iron Dames Lamborghini. After its podium finish at Le Mans, the number 88 Proton Ford is still in 9th place, and completing the top 10 is the United Autosports number 59 McLaren. So that completes my race review of the 2024 Rolex 6 Hours of São Paulo. What did you think about the WEC's return to São Paulo and Brazil in general? Well, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments. Also, the next race in the WEC will be taking place at the end of August and the beginning of September, which is the WEC's return to Austin, Texas, and the Circuit of the Americas. Thanks for watching. For more content on endurance racing such as the WEC and IMSA, consider subscribing if you haven't already. On screen, you'll find some suggested videos to watch next. For now though, that's it for me. You'll hear from me next in the following video.